I have 2 baby mamas, but I'm successful. Am I doomed to be alone?
You're successful. You got 2 baby mamas. I think, was it Nick Cannon? He's got 6
He's
now?
got
Like
10.
He's got 10 baby mamas?
He's got
guessing.
10.
Bob
He's
Marley
9
had
to
6.
10, I think.
So you're successful and you got 2 women that you slip one past the goalie. So I don't see how that's a bad thing. But doesn't mean you have to be with one person forever and ever. Maybe you got a couple more baby mamas that you have yet to meet. And then they'll become your baby mamas. So what's your outcome? What do you want? Do you want more kids? Do you want a family? Do you want to get married? What is it you're looking? Just casually date? What are you looking for?
Well,
You're the man. If you're successful, it's up to you to create your reality in your world, what you want. If you could have it any way, what would you make?
I feel like him saying he's successful I think he's just saying he has money being successful. Obviously, you're not successful in other areas of your life if you think you're doomed to be alone.
Yeah, so he's looking at that going, because society says there's something wrong with you if you're not with one person forever. You're a loser. You didn't marry the one person. You had a divorce. You didn't stay with that girlfriend. You've had a bunch of great girlfriends and you never stay with any of them. Got to be something wrong with you. So the reality is when we look at our society is that everybody is trying to live to the ideal of like the one, which is a myth. And we all are on my own experience, we have multiple soulmates. There are people that come in your life that like you don't really notice it at the time, but it's years later when you look back, and it's like when I look back at my book 3% Man, the relationships that I had and all the things that happened to me, same thing with mastering yourself. It's like those people, those relationships. It's like I remember when I moved to Orlando and I wanted to get into buying foreclosure properties. And so at the time, you would go in the classifieds and look for handyman special, those kinds of things. And I ended up coming across this company that's all they did was they flipped foreclosure properties. And they were experts at it. And they provided financing and they would teach you how to sell it and how to get it financed to your end user. And it's like if I hadn't moved to Orlando, I would have never come across them. And there was only one company, at least in the whole state of Florida, that did that I knew of at the time. And so when I met those guys and I went in there, I was buying properties from them initially as an investor. Then I eventually got a job. I feel like I'd known them all. I just felt like I was where I was supposed to be. I love the energy that, because I came out of the corporate world and I was working on my own because I had started my own business at that point. But just being around all those guys that I got to know, it just felt like I was supposed to be there. And then when I talked them into offering me a job, it felt natural. And I worked there for a year and a half. I met my 2 business partners there and we left on our own. If I had lived in Fort Lauderdale or anywhere else, it's like those connections would have never happened. I would have never got into that business and I would have got into the business, but I don't think I would have been as successful as I would have been. And it's like I look back at it now, I was like all those relationships were perfectly lined up. The girlfriends that I wrote about in my book, I look back at it now, it was magic. It was perfect. I was supposed to meet those girls. It's like what's meant for you won't miss you in life. I found that to be true. It's like when you're in the present moment, you can't really see it. It's only and Steve Jobs talked about this. It's only like years later that you're able to look back and connect the dots and see how all those relationships lined up perfectly for you. So this guy is, if you compare yourself to society's standard that you're supposed to find the one, and if you don't find the one and you're with her forever, there's something wrong with you and you're a loser, then you got 2 baby mamas, you don't match a standard, of course, that means that you're a failure. But if you look at it a different way, you've been able to find 2 different women that are willing to have your children. That's kind of a big deal. So everything in life has the meaning that you give it. You can say, I got 2 baby mamas, I'm a loser. Or you can say, I'm a stud. I got 2 women that love me so much. They were both willing to have my children, even though I'm not with either one of them. And I'd like to collect a few more.
Yeah, but I also want to know the circumstance with the guy. Has he broken it off with those women or have they broken it off with him? Because I feel like it depends. Because maybe
I
if
don't-
they had broken it off with him,
I-
that's what makes him feel that insecurity. But if
Well,
it
he's
were,
talking about in a
think-
way where I'm not with either one of my baby mamas, so therefore I didn't get the one, and there must be something wrong with me. Again, it's all how you look at it. Everything that happens in life, you decide what it means to you, good or bad. And so the way he's looking at it, he's giving his life and his experience a disempowering meaning. I could look at that and say that the guy's very successful financially, and he's probably making more money than most average people make. So right there, he's way ahead of the game than most people. And on top of that, he's found 2 different women that are willing to have his kids and have. So you could look at that and say, hey, I can't wait to see what happens next. I'm excited about it.
I think it's great. I mean, he's blessed with 2 children. He should be happy about that.
yeah.
He's a winner in my eyes. Like, he has 2 kids that,
He passed his genes on. He has succeeded in that arena.
I mean, if he works at that relationship with both of his kids, he's going to have 2 kids that are going to love him unconditionally.
Yeah.
So he's a winner in my eyes. As long as he is like going to be an outstanding dad.
Yeah.
If not, then that's his loss.
Yeah, the goal between him and his baby mamas is you're trying to make great humans together.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing, is that you make great humans that when they grow up, you're like, I'm proud of my kid. I'm proud of my son. I'm proud of my daughter, daughters, whatever. That's success. But again, it's you decide the label, and all I'm saying is that he's choosing to look at his situation as if he's some kind of failure.
Right.
When in reality, there are dudes that are listening to this video going, damn, I wish I had at least one baby mama.
Mm-hmm.